Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now guys, this is very much a case of shorting the stables after the horse has bolted. So guys, I bring you this bill to make election debate compulsory for presidential and governorship candidate passes second reading. So this is now something that of course should have been mandatory within the Nigerian space. You will recall during the 2015 presidential election, Malam Buhari ran away to the point that he was not able, and they guided him and they prevented him and they shielded him from debating with Goodluck Jonathan, because of course they know that as soon as this guy presents on the podium, the whole of the country would immediately turn their back and say, no, this one is just too dumb and is too rigid in his ways to have anything to do with the Nigerian state. This was what happened in 2015. Fast forward 2019, exact same thing happened. Atiku Abubakar was quite keen to debate this guy. Omoyele Sowore, Moghalu, etc. All of them were all keen to debate this guy because they were intent on exposing him. And the debate was set up to the point that Atiku Abubakar was actually in the United States, because you recall that during that presidential campaign in January, February 2019, a lot of the talk then was that Atiku Abubakar has a case to answer in the United States, so he cannot go there. So and they made a lot of hue and cry about it to the point that Atiku Abubakar then felt the need to go to the United States. So he went to the United States, met with all manners of important people, senators, etc., and had all of those photo opportunities with a lot of these people, which he published in the public space. So now he had to then cut short that trip to the United States, which was really essentially to answer back to the APC that he wasn't able to go to the United States because he's a wanted man there. So he had to cut short that trip to the United States to come back to Nigeria to come and debate Malam Buhari, because of course he knew that Malam Buhari, one, he doesn't have the physical strength to stand up on the podium for a good 2 hours, never mind having the intellectual rigor to participate and battle it out and handle a debate. So Atiku knew that, everybody knew that, so Atiku was quite keen. So he came to Nigeria and he landed in Nigeria, and I think Saraki was the campaign chief. He was the campaign manager for Atiku then. So he landed in Nigeria, cutting short his trip to the United States to come and debate Malam Buhari. And he landed at the studio then. He was presented at the studio. He was present at the studio for that debate. And he was at the steps to the rostrum, to go on to the rostrum, where, because you recall during that debate, Madam Obi, Fela Duro Toye, I don't think they invited Sowore because he was too militant, but a lot of them, Moghalu, they were all lined up and they were all ready. And Atiku Abubakar was at the steps of the podium, to mount the podium to go and give his all for that debate. Until then, at that point, they heard the word that Malam Buhari is no longer going to turn up for that debate, because the Malam Buhari handlers, of course, knew that he does not have the capacity. This is a guy that can barely string two sentences together. He's very rigid in his ways. This is a guy that is not read any books. He's not really traveled, if not physically, certainly mentally, out of his geographical space within Katsina space in Daura. This is a guy that has not mentally left Daura since the day that he was born, and his own mindset cannot expand and reach beyond Fulani and his religion. This is a very limited man. So his handlers know that as well, of course, but then of course they are using the mystique of him. This is what they say: if you don't have anything in your head, then don't speak at all. So then you maintain that mystique. So this is really what the whole Buhari narrative is all about, and his handlers knew that as well, and they knew that as soon as he mounted a podium to debate anybody where there will be cut and thrust and back and forth, this guy will crumble within 5 minutes. If he can last 5 minutes, I'll be impressed. But this guy will crumble immediately. One, he doesn't have enough of a grasp of the English language to understand any of the questions that they are going to put to him, and also he doesn't have sufficient enough of verbalization of the language to even give a coherent, cohesive answer to anything. And you saw that in that sit-down question and answer session that he had with Kadira Ahmed, where Kadira Ahmed will ask him a question and Yemi Oshibajo will fend off the question, because of course he knew that the guy did not have either the language skill or the IQ to answer any question. So of course they shielded him from that. So in 2 instances now, this guy ran away from the debate. So now, having now done all that and gotten away with blue murder for 2 terms, these people are now looking to change the rules. But of course the damage that Buhari would have done in his 8 years would negate really whatever it is now that they want to institute into law within the Nigerian space, because of course Buhari should have been forced to debate at that time. So they are now trying to change all the rules now after they have had their way with Malam Buhari. So again, the headline: bill to make election debate compulsory for presidential and governorship candidates pass second reading. So it is the Nigerian Senate that we're going to, and this is what they have to say. The Nigerian Senate has endorsed a bill to make election debates compulsory for presidential and governorship candidates. The bill, sponsored by Abdul Fattah Buhari, look at the irony there, who represents Oyo North, scaled its second reading on Thursday's plenary session after senators voted in its favor. If passed into law, the bill mandates the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to organize mandatory debates for candidates to help boost and strengthen the electoral process. It is also expected that the bill will help in assessment of candidates and improve Nigeria's electoral process. Sponsor of the bill, Buhari, said voters learned from the debate and are more accurately able to judge candidates and get additional information about them. It also helps the candidates to speak on a wide range of issues, as the National Assembly is doing with ministerial nominees. If the ministers can be assessed, it is logically imperative for the president and others to be adequately assessed also. So this is now what the guy from Oyo State North is having to give as a reason for proposing this bill. But then, of course, this is something, because within the Nigerian structure, there's always wayo wayo and mago mago. So the idea that INEC should superintend this is something that doesn't sit too easy with me, because if you have INEC to pretend this sort of debate, and you have somebody, because we've already seen the example of Yakubu, Mahmoud Yakubu, the current INEC chairman. We've already seen his example in February, especially 2019, where he wholesale rigged a whole national election and told us that there was no server for INEC, even though INEC has been given close to 500 billion to set up a server, and they were transmitting, of course, results with their card readers to a central port. So if they are transmitting results from the card readers to a central port, and you are saying you don't have a server, then what is that central port that the elections, that the results rather are being transmitted to? We saw what happened in Borno State, a war zone, where you are telling us that 80% uptake in voters in Borno State, where the people are living in IDP camps or in bushes, are on the run. You know who they are on the run from. I don't want to mention their name for reasons of YouTube. So these people are on the run in in Borno State, and you're telling us that there's been an 80% more voters than there were in previous elections in Borno State, and there was a 30% drop in the whole of Igbo land, where they absolutely detest Malam Buhari. So you can see the sort of election that somebody like that Mahmoud Yakubu ran. So if you are saying that INEC should superintend a debate, then of course, then we have to look at the example of this sort of Mahmoud Yakubu and revisit that. So there has to be some sort of independent umpire that is agreed by all the parties of all the major parties. At least there has to be a better system, because even all the major parties would not agree on one person or one platform that as the arbiter of fair play and equity. So there has to be a better form, though, but certainly it should not rest in the hands of INEC, especially giving and citing the example of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. I have to actually go check where this guy got his professorship from, because this is a guy that has completely debased his own name, and I am pretty sure that he was handsomely rewarded for it. But nevertheless, a step in the right direction. These debates must now be made compulsory, a matter of law, so that we do not then get the repeat of Malam Buhari. So it's a bit of a case, as I said, of shutting the stables after the horses have bolted. But then again, the counter argument, better late than never. Conversations in the comment section. Nigeria heading in the right direction, or is it? What are your thoughts? Come share thoughts about all these with me in the comment section. But before you do that, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. The bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me what you're making of this bill that has passed second reading in the Nigerian Senate in the comment section. So I'll leave you here. Carry this conversation on with you in the comment section. But here I say peace.